The pain arrives suddenly, like an electric current ripping through the night. The body contracts, the leg stiffens, and for a few seconds the whole world seems to fit into that point of pain. Have you ever felt this? Rest turns into a torment, and every attempt to fall back asleep is marked by the fear that the next wave will return. It's not just a passing discomfort. It's a signal, a silent warning that something inside you is crying out for attention. Leg cramps aren't just rebellious muscles. They're like invisible chains that imprison the body at the moment it most needs peace. What's at stake isn't just your night's sleep. It's your vitality during the day, the confidence of being able to walk without fear, the simple pleasure of getting out of bed without carrying the memory of pain. Little by little, these episodes sap your strength and plant doubt. Could it be that my body no longer obeys me? This is the question many carry in silence, unaware that the answer may be different from what they believe. Think of your body as a garden. When it lacks the right nutrients, the flowers don't bloom, the branches lose their strength, and even the roots weaken. The same is true of your legs. They need the right nourishment to support the weight of life. To ignore this is to let the roots slowly dry out. But when the earth receives what it lacks, the transformation is almost miraculous. And it's precisely at this point that the turning point comes. Because the truth is that small choices have the power to change your body's destiny. What seems inevitable may turn out to be just a consequence of repeated, silent, but correctable oversights. And that's where the deep-seated question arises. What if there were a simple, almost hidden way to restore strength and tranquility to your legs? The heart senses when something greater is approaching. Perhaps it's no coincidence that you're hearing this now. You know what it's like to be sitting quietly and suddenly feel your leg seize up, hard as stone. The muscle seems to twist inside, and the immediate urge is to scream or squeeze hard, seeking any relief. In that instant, time stretches out. Every second of pain seems multiplied, and the entire body focuses on that single point of suffering. In the end, when the muscle relaxes, a strange tiredness remains, as if you've run miles when all you wanted was to rest in peace. These scenes happen more often than many would admit. In the middle of the night, in the solitude of the bedroom, when everyone else is asleep, that's when the pain appears, like an unwelcome visitor insisting on returning. Some try to get up and walk down the hallway, others lie down, waiting for the wave to pass. And the next day, the weight of a bad night's sleep accompanies every step. The body no longer responds with the same firmness, the fear of another cramp lingers in the mind, and even simple moments, like crossing the street or climbing the stairs, seem fraught with insecurity. Imagine for a moment that you're on a walk with loved ones. You want to keep up, you want to talk, you want to enjoy yourself, but the memory of the last pain in your legs is so present that you end up treading cautiously, almost fearfully. It's as if a shadow follows your steps, reminding you that at any moment something could happen again. And this shadow, little by little, steals away your spontaneity, the joy of moving without thinking. It's at this point that many silently give up, believing there's nothing to do but endure. But that's not true. There are signs, there are hidden explanations that almost no one talks about. Small everyday oversights that accumulate and, without realizing it, create the ground for the legs to rebel at night. And when these oversights are understood and transformed, the body responds like fertile soil suddenly receiving the water it was waiting for. Perhaps that's why so many people choose to stay here, following each revelation, because they feel they are not alone in this silent struggle. The path has not yet been fully revealed, but the feeling is already taking hold. There is something beyond the pain, and that something may be much closer than it seems. Have you ever noticed how the human mind tends to seek quick explanations for things it doesn't understand? When pain strikes, when legs cramp in the middle of the night, the first thought that comes to mind is almost always the same: it's age. It's as if time, in itself, were to blame for all the discomfort, all the limitations that accumulate over the years. This belief, repeated by so many, creates an invisible weight on our shoulders, as if there were no alternative but to accept it. But the body doesn't work that way. It responds, it adapts, it demands adjustments. The truth is that much of our suffering isn't born from the passing of the years, but from the habits we cultivate day after day, often without realizing it. The body is like an old house. Over time, some walls need repairs, some windows no longer close as well, but the structure remains strong. What determines whether it remains standing or not is the care it receives. If neglected, if ignored, the house weakens. But if cared for attentively, cleaned, and restored in detail, It remains solid, even after decades. The same goes for your legs, your muscles, the entire system that sustains your life. It's not just the calendar that defines how you feel, but how you nourish this structure every day. When someone says there's no solution, what they're really saying is that they've given up looking within, searching for the causes. But observe, there are people who reach 70 and 80, walking steadily, with energy to dance, laugh, work in the garden, play with their grandchildren. Time passed for them in the same way, but the habits they chose made room for a different kind of story. This proves that it's not age that determines the future, but how we respond to the present. Cramps are often a wake-up call. Not just a physical discomfort, but a signal that something needs to be reorganized. Like an alarm that goes off in the silence of the early morning, they interrupt not only sleep, but also the illusion that the body can be ignored. They scream to remind us that it's possible to do things differently, that there's a path back to vitality. And when this awareness takes hold, our relationship with pain changes. It stops being an enemy and becomes a message. If you allow yourself to see from this perspective, you'll see that hope opens before you like a new horizon. Your legs, which so often seem weakened, still carry within them a memory of strength, of vitality. What's missing isn't youth, but the right care, the gestures that nourish this dormant strength. Destiny isn't set in stone, it's not written immutably. There's the possibility of transforming each step into an act of rebirth, of restoring to the body the energy that seemed lost. It's in this shift in perspective that everything begins to change. When the belief that it's just age loses its hold, space opens for another certainty, that habits are seeds, and each choice can plant something new. Pain ceases to be a condemnation and becomes an invitation to awaken, to nourish, to rebuild. And this simple shift in belief can alter not only the way you see your legs, but also the way you view your entire life. There's always something hidden behind the most bothersome pains. Like an underground stream running silently beneath the earth, there are hidden causes that fuel cramps and are rarely discussed. It's not just aging that triggers these spasms. The body gives signals when balance is lacking, when small gestures repeated every day begin to take their toll. It's like a door that opens and closes so many times without maintenance, until one day the creaking becomes inevitable. Among these causes, one of the most common occurs at night, when many believe they are resting. The body craves calm, but the mind remains agitated. The silence of the room fills with memories, worries, and thoughts that never cease. This invisible whirlwind creates tension, and the muscle, which should be relaxed, remains on alert. Cramps are like the echo of this unresolved anxiety. It's the body screaming what the soul hasn't yet managed to quiet. Another hidden trap lies in seemingly innocent habits. A sweet treat before bed, a heavy meal late at night, a glass of soda. These small nocturnal pleasures turn into burdens during sleep. Sugar, in particular, is like a fog that invades the body. It provides immediate energy, but it exacts a heavy toll: internal agitation, muscle imbalance, lack of deep rest. Each seemingly harmless spoonful can be the spark that ignites the fire of leg pain. There's also a more subtle enemy, the artificial light that invades the eyes just before sleep. The television is on, the cell phone glowing in the palm of your hand, the seemingly harmless computer screen. These lights confuse the body. The mind believes it's still daytime, and the signals to rest are lost. The result is fragmented sleep, tired muscles, and a greater propensity for the spasms that wake you up in the middle of the night. Recognizing these hidden causes is like shining a flashlight in a dark room. Suddenly, you understand that you're not being attacked without reason, that you're not a victim of chance. There are explanations, there are roots that feed the problem. And when the root is found, change becomes possible. It's like cutting the evil at its base. The bitter fruits stop appearing. This revelation brings with it a subtle relief, almost as if a window has been opened to let in fresh air. The feeling of helplessness begins to dissipate, and in its place, hope is born. You realize you can intervene, that you have power over these silent enemies. The body is not condemned to suffer, it just needs to be understood more carefully. That's why so many people, upon hearing words like these, feel the urge to stay close, to continue following every detail that's revealed. It's almost natural to want this kind of knowledge to reach more people. And that's why, if you feel these words are valuable, enjoying this moment is like lighting another flame, allowing the light to spread even further. The important thing to understand is that no enemy is invincible. Cramps, however painful, don't arise without a reason. They're disguised messages, asking for adjustments, reminding you that your body needs a different kind of care. And when you begin to see what was hidden, the pain is no longer just pain. It becomes a key that opens the door to a new phase of life, where each night can be a true rest, not a silent battle. Once the hidden enemy is recognized, the next step is to embrace practices that restore balance to the body and serenity to the mind. These aren't complicated formulas or unattainable recipes, but rather small gestures that, repeated consistently, have the power to transform daily life. The body, no matter how tired it may seem, responds quickly to proper care. It's like dry earth that, upon receiving the first drops of rain, already begins to show signs of life. One of the simplest ways is through breathing. Taking a deep breath, holding it for a few seconds, and then slowly releasing it is more than a physical act. It's an invitation to the body to relax and the mind to quiet down. When done before bed, this exercise acts as a switch that turns off agitation and prepares the ground for rest. The muscle, so often on alert, finds in this rhythm a kind of internal melody that teaches it to let go. Another powerful way to care for yourself comes from what you put on your plate. Some foods carry the energy of stability, as if they were invisible pillars supporting your muscles. Fresh fruit in the morning, a light meal in the evening, pure water throughout the day. These simple gestures are like silent blessings that nourish not only the body but also the spirit. Muscles that ache at night find relief when, during the day, they receive what they truly need to function harmoniously. And then there's the practice of walking. A few minutes a day, taken calmly, are enough to activate circulation and awaken dormant vitality. When your feet touch the ground, especially dirt or grass, it's as if an invisible current begins to circulate, releasing accumulated weight and bringing lightness to the body. Walking isn't just exercise, it's a gesture of reconnection with the life that sustains each step. Touch also has its power. Placing your hands on your legs and massaging gently before bed is like talking to your body silently. This dialogue inspires trust, generates warmth, stimulates circulation, and reminds your muscles they can rest. It doesn't require force, just presence. It's in this serene touch that the body finds relief and the heart feels cared for. There's also the resource of words. Choosing a single word, loaded with meaning, and repeating it silently throughout the day creates an invisible thread that guides the mind toward calm, strength, light, peace. Each time this word is pronounced internally, the body receives a signal that it is protected, that it need not remain in a state of alert. Little by little, this repetition becomes a habit, and the habit becomes protection. These gestures may seem small, almost discreet, but together they become like rivers flowing into a single sea. The body, previously tense and marked by the fear of pain, begins to regain its fluidity. The night, so often interrupted, becomes a path to deeper rest. And the legs, which had contracted in rebellion, find in constant care an invitation to rest in harmony. The transformation doesn't happen all at once, but in layers. Each breath, each food chosen, each conscious step taken creates a new landscape. Little by little, the pain loses its power, and in its place emerges a sense of confidence. The body learns to trust itself again, and the soul rediscovers the serenity it so desperately sought. When the body begins to receive these simple treatments, a new space opens within us, a space of silence and transformation. It is in this moment that the mind can be guided to images that not only soothe but also heal. Visualization is like a subtle medicine. You don't see it, you don't touch it, but it acts profoundly, because the mind has the power to shape the way the body reacts. Each thought is like a seed, and when you plant images of serenity, the body responds with rest and balance. Imagine for a moment that you're lying in bed. The room is dim, with only a soft light streaming in through the window. Take a deep breath and feel the air filling your chest. Now, visualize your legs not as tired limbs, but as rivers of clear water. This water flows smoothly, unhindered, uninterrupted. Each muscle is like a calm current, free and serene. Where there was once tension, there is now a flow of lightness that flows through every part. Imagine your mind as a lake. At first, the surface is choppy, rippling with the wind of your thoughts. But gradually, the wind calms. The waves subside. The water becomes calm, clear, reflecting the sky above. In this lake, there is no rush, no pain. Just stillness. And this stillness begins to spread throughout your entire body, down your shoulders, through your chest, and down to your legs. It's as if every fiber of your being receives a breath of peace. Now, imagine a golden light descending upon you. This light doesn't burn, it doesn't weigh you down. It gently envelopes you, like a blanket of comforting warmth. It focuses especially on your legs, illuminating the muscles, dissolving the invisible knots that once caused pain. With each breath, this light spreads further, until your entire body is bathed in clarity. Feel it as a blessing, as if a kind hand rests upon you and says, "Rest, all is well." This image isn't just fantasy. The brain, when guided by symbols of calm and healing, sends signals to the body. The heart slows, tension melts away, and the muscles find the rest they've been longing for. It's like a garden that flourishes as it receives light and water. The body, upon receiving images of peace, finds its own way to regenerate. While remaining in this state, silently repeat simple words that become like anchors. My mind is calm. Let each syllable fall within you like drops of dew on the earth. My body is strong. Feel this phrase like firm roots sinking into the soil. My life is reborn. See before you the illuminated horizon, where tomorrow opens like a fertile field ready to be cultivated. These phrases, combined with the images, create a healing cycle that goes beyond the present moment. Even after opening your eyes, your mind retains the memory of this tranquil lake, this golden light, this serene flow running through your legs. It's a memory that can be accessed whenever needed, an internal refuge built by your own consciousness. By cultivating this habit of visualizing healing, you create a sacred space within yourself, a shelter that is independent of external circumstances. When night falls, when the fear of a new cramp creeps in, simply return to this place of serenity. There, the pain fades, and hope becomes a living presence. And little by little, your body learns to believe again in the peace that already exists within you. When the mind finds this refuge of light and calm, something curious happens. The pain that once seemed absolute begins to transform into a mere detail, like a passing cloud in the vast sky of consciousness. It's as if, suddenly, suffering no longer holds the same power. The body remains the same, but the relationship with it changes. With each deep breath, with each image of cultivated serenity, you begin to realize that you are not trapped by the pain, but that you can observe it from afar, like someone watching a river flow without trying to stop it. And it is at this point that a new insight emerges, that every experience, even the most uncomfortable, can carry a hidden lesson. The cramp that wakes you in the middle of the night stops being just a punishment and becomes a reminder. A reminder that there are adjustments to be made, that life still awaits movement, conscious choices, renewed steps. It's not just a contracted muscle, it's a message from the body asking for attention, like a bell ringing in a silent temple, calling everyone to wake up. Many who experience similar situations keep their experiences silent. They pretend that enduring is enough, that it's not worth talking about. But by sharing feelings, pain, and small victories, something powerful is discovered. Pain loses its strength when it finds an echo. It's as if each story spoken aloud releases a part of the weight. That's why it's so valuable when people allow themselves to speak out, share what they feel, and record what they've experienced. This simple gesture opens space for others to realize they're not alone, that each story can be a bridge of care between strangers. The closeness created by these exchanges has an almost spiritual effect. When someone writes, "I'm going through this too," an invisible chain is created connecting lives far apart, yet sharing the same quest. And this silent chain strengthens as much as medicine. Because the feeling of isolation, so common in those who suffer from night pain, fades with the certainty that many walk the same path. As we delve deeper into this reflection, we realize that life never leaves us without solutions. They are there, hidden in simple habits, in practices that unite body and soul. Visualizations, breathing, the right foods, a caring touch, all of these come together like pieces of a single mosaic. And in this mosaic, the figure that emerges is not someone defeated by time, but someone discovering new ways to live their own age with dignity and strength. Each night you allow yourself to apply these gestures, you create a more fertile field within yourself. And in place of the shadow of uncertainty, a gentle confidence emerges, almost imperceptible at first, but which gradually becomes firm. It is this confidence that paves the way to understanding that transformation is not only possible, it is inevitable when you choose to plant different seeds. And with each small victory, the certainty grows stronger. Life is not in decline, it simply demands a new way of being lived. This understanding opens a door that remains ajar, as if beckoning us forward. There is still more to discover, more to reveal, more layers to be illuminated. And it is in this journey that we realize, the pain was only the first invitation. And when that door opens, a territory that seemed forgotten appears before you, confidence in your own strength. It's like reconnecting with an old friend who, for a long time, has lain dormant. The body, even tired, holds a deep memory of vitality. And each practice, each conscious gesture, awakens this dormant memory. With each night when sleep arrives more gently, with each morning when your steps become less heavy, proof emerges that there is more life within you than you perhaps imagined. The curious thing is that this transformation doesn't happen abruptly. It's subtle, almost silent, like the dawn slowly appearing on the horizon until it illuminates everything. At first, it might seem like a mere detail, a night with fewer interruptions, a waking up with less tension in the legs, a walk that requires less effort. But these small signs are seeds that germinate, and soon you realize the entire garden begins to bloom. Cramps, once seen only as enemies, are now understood as warning signs that showed where change was needed. And, looking back, you understand that pain was part of the path that led to your current consciousness. Without it, you might never have sought these new paths. It is at this moment that suffering becomes a teacher. It is no longer just punishment, but a lesson. The mind, accustomed to carrying anxiety, begins to learn a new rhythm. The heart slows, thoughts find clarity, and a new serenity settles in. It's as if within the chest there's a space of calm that doesn't depend on the outside world. The television may be on, the street may be noisy, the news may be heavy. Yet, there's a tranquil lake within that remains untouched. This is the most precious fruit of the practices, the discovery that peace isn't outside, but within. And this peace isn't limited to moments of rest. It spills over the entire day. Upon waking, the first breath already brings gratitude. When walking, each step becomes conscious, as if the feet know they carry not only the body, but an entire story of overcoming. The touch on the legs, previously marked by pain, now becomes a gesture of affection. And the words chosen throughout the day, peace, strength, light, echo like mantras that accompany each movement. This silent transformation also awakens something deeper, a reconnection with the sacred. It doesn't matter what name you give this presence, God, universe, life, spirit. What matters is feeling that you don't walk alone, that there's a greater force sustaining every gesture, every effort, every victory. It's as if an invisible hand rests on your shoulder and says, "You can still do it. Keep going." This feeling warms you from within and strengthens you from without. And as this quiet faith grows, the body responds with greater vigor. The legs, previously marked by insecurity, begin to support not only the physical weight but also renewed confidence. Movement becomes natural again, sleep becomes deeper, and life, which once seemed shrunken by fear of pain, expands again. Ultimately, true healing was never just about eliminating cramps or silencing pain. True healing lies in discovering that you possess infinite inner resources, that your mind can calm storms, that your spirit can illuminate the darkest parts of your body. And when this understanding sets in, what once seemed impossible becomes simple. Living each day with dignity, with lightness, and with the certainty that age is not a limit, but merely a chapter in a story that can still blossom. And when the understanding that age is not a sentence takes root in the heart, a new perspective opens to every detail of life. What once seemed merely routine takes on a different glow. Drinking a glass of fresh water ceases to be an automatic act and becomes a reminder that the body is a resource that needs to be cared for. A simple moment in the sun is no longer just warmth on the skin, but an encounter with the energy that awakens and strengthens. Even the silence of an ordinary morning becomes a space for contemplation, as if each moment were an opportunity for rebirth. Vitality is measured not only by the absence of pain, but by the presence of meaning in every gesture. When the body responds with greater ease, the soul also expands. Steps, once weighted with fear, now once again become invitations to explore paths, talk with friends, hug grandchildren without fear that a sudden contraction will interrupt the moment. It's as if life, which for a time seemed confined within the walls of limitation, opens its windows and lets in the fresh air of freedom. There's also a subtle shift in how we view time. Before, every sleepless night seemed like a reminder of aging, every cramp proof that the body was no longer the same. Now, Time is seen as an ally, a companion offering lessons rather than punishment. Pain, once so feared, is now recognized as a teacher pointing out where transformation was needed. It's no longer about fighting age, but about walking with it, in harmony, drawing from it the wisdom that only years bring. It is in this process that a new feeling emerges, that of belonging. Belonging to one's own body, recognizing oneself in it without rejection. Belonging to one's own story, accepting each scar as part of a unique journey. And, above all, belonging to the greater mystery that sustains everything, be it called God, the universe, or life. This feeling of being connected to something beyond oneself creates a foundation of peace that is not easily shattered. And as this sense of belonging takes hold, energy reorganizes. Sleep becomes deeper, muscles find rest, and even the mind becomes clearer. It's as if each practice, each conscious breath, each healing image, weaves invisible threads that hold everything together in balance. The body strengthens not only by being nourished, but by feeling integrated into a larger network of meaning. This new awareness infiltrates daily life like morning light coming through a crack. At first it seems small, but soon it illuminates the entire space. The cramp, once a terrifying event, now becomes a distant memory, almost insignificant in the face of this new reality. What prevails is confidence, the certainty that life still holds much to be lived to the fullest. And perhaps the most beautiful thing of all is realizing that this transformation doesn't depend on something grand. It arises from simple gestures, small choices, and delicate attention to body and mind. It's in the silence of breathing, in the taste of a fruit, in a peaceful walk, that the everyday miracle manifests itself. And by recognizing this miracle, space opens up to understand that true youth has never been found in age, but in the way we see and live each moment that still pulses in the present. And when this awareness fully takes hold, everything around you seems to take on a new tone. The body is no longer seen merely as a failing machine, but as a living temple, capable of renewal when cared for with attention and respect. With each deep breath, each more steady step taken, each night of uninterrupted sleep, you realize that the transformation isn't just beginning, it's already happening within you. It's as if a veil has been lifted from your eyes, and for the first time in a long time, you can clearly see the path ahead. The pain that once seemed overwhelming now pales in comparison to the certainty pulsing in my chest. It is possible to live lightly, it is possible to rest in peace, it is possible to carry within my body the strength of spiritual youth that never ages. Every muscle, every fiber, every memory of pain transformed into overcoming is living proof that you are greater than any limitation. And when the mind accepts this truth, the body responds like an obedient disciple following the Master's wisdom. Look at yourself right now. Realize how far you've come since you began listening. You arrived here perhaps carrying fears, perhaps believing you were doomed to endure sleepless nights and tired days. But now you feel a new breath within you, a breath that rekindles the flame of confidence and opens space for a fuller life. This isn't just information you received, it's a lived experience, an awakening that is already transforming the way you perceive yourself. And that's precisely why sharing this space becomes so valuable. When you choose to like what you've heard, you're saying to the universe, yes, I recognize the importance of this message. When you leave a comment, you open your heart and allow others to resonate with your words, creating an invisible chain of support that strengthens everyone. And when you decide to subscribe, you're making a commitment to yourself, a silent gesture that says, I want to continue receiving seeds of light to cultivate my life. These simple gestures aren't just digital actions, they're symbols. Symbols that you value your own journey, that you understand the importance of staying connected to this space of healing and transformation. They're part of your decision to continue cultivating habits that nourish not only your body, but also your soul. Allow yourself to feel, now, the greatness of having stayed this far. Many begin, few reach the end. And you have arrived. This means your soul sought more than fleeting relief, it sought true renewal. And you found it. Treasure this feeling. You didn't just hear words, you lived an experience that is already beginning to reflect in your body and mind. Know that each time you return to this space, it will be like rediscovering a source of fresh water amidst the heat. There will always be something new to drink, always more clarity to illuminate your journey. And as you continue walking, carry with you this certainty. No matter your age, no matter your limitations, within you lies an inexhaustible force that can transform any shadow into light. Now take a deep breath. Feel this peace growing in your chest. and carry with you the awareness that this moment was a gift. Not by chance, but because you deserve to hear, deserve to live, deserve to remember that there is still so much to blossom. You didn't just watch, you transformed. And this transformation is yours, forever.